Emperor Hirohito, also known as Emperor Showa, ruled Japan from 1926 until his death in 1989. During World War II, he was at the center of one of the most powerful and controversial periods in Japanese history. Many people still ask, how much did Hirohito know? Was he just a symbol, or did he support Japan's military expansion? At the start of Hirohito's rule, Japan had a constitutional monarchy. The emperor had political power, but the government and the military played key roles. Still, under the old Meiji constitution, Hirohito was officially the commander of the army and navy. He had the final authority to approve laws, declarations of war, and peace treaties. To many Japanese people, he was not just a political leader, but also a divine figure, believed to be a living god. In the 1930s, Japan became more aggressive. It wanted more land and resources. The army invaded Manchuria in 1931 and set up a puppet state called Manchukuo. Then, in 1937, Japan launched a full-scale invasion of China. One of the worst events was the Nanjing Massacre, where hundreds of thousands of civilians were killed and women were raped. Hirohito did not order these actions, but he also did not punish the commanders involved. He continued to approve military budgets and operations. Hirohito received daily reports from his generals. He attended military meetings and signed important war documents. He was not simply watching from afar. Many historians believe he had a good understanding of what was happening in China and other areas. His silence and approval helped the army continue its brutal campaigns without fear of consequences. By 1940, Japan joined Germany and Italy in the Tripartite Pact, becoming one of the Axis powers. The goal was to build a new world order with Japan leading in Asia. Japan invaded French Indochina, and this caused serious conflict with the United States, which placed economic sanctions on Japan. These sanctions cut off Japan's access to oil and other important supplies. In late 1941, Japanese leaders, including Prime Minister Tojo Hideki, planned a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Hirohito was informed of the plan and gave his approval. He did not object, even though the attack would likely start a war with the U.S. and its allies. On December 8, 1941, he announced to the Japanese people that the country was at war. He said it was necessary for Japan's survival. After Pearl Harbor, Japan launched attacks across the Pacific and Southeast Asia. The Japanese army quickly captured the Philippines, Singapore, Hong Kong, Burma, and Indonesia. It seemed unstoppable. During this time, Hirohito continued to support the military. He sometimes asked questions about specific plans, but he rarely said no. He also approved the use of chemical weapons in China and allowed cruel treatment of prisoners of war. As the war turned against Japan in 1943-1944, Hirohito started to show more concern. Japan was losing key battles in the Pacific, and American bombers were destroying Japanese cities. Civilians were suffering greatly. Still, Hirohito did not stop the war. Instead, he encouraged the people to keep fighting. He gave speeches asking for 100 million Japanese to die together if necessary. In 1945, Japan was close to defeat. On March 10th, American firebombing killed over 100,000 people in Tokyo in one night. Then in August, the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. These bombs killed over 200,000 people, many of them civilians. Around the same time, the Soviet Union declared war on Japan and invaded Japanese-controlled areas in Manchuria. Japan's top leaders were divided. Some wanted to surrender, while others wanted to fight on. At a secret meeting, Hirohito made a rare move. He broke the deadlock and personally called for peace. He said Japan must surrender to avoid complete destruction. On August 15, 1945, Hirohito spoke on the radio for the first time in history. His speech, called the Jewel Voice broadcast, was difficult for many people to understand. He used formal and old-fashioned language. He said Japan must endure the unendurable and surrender. He did not mention Japan's war crimes or offer any apology. After the war, Japan was occupied by American forces under General Douglas MacArthur. The U.S. helped create a new constitution for Japan. This new law, in effect since 1947, removed all of the emperor's political power. Hirohito became only a symbol of the state and the unity of the people. One of the most controversial decisions was to protect Hirohito from prosecution. Many people in the U.S. and around the world believed he should go on trial for war crimes, like the German leaders in Nuremberg. But the U.S. government decided not to. They thought that keeping the emperor would help the Japanese people accept defeat and move forward. To support this idea, American officials rewrote the story of the war. They said Hirohito was a peaceful man who had no control over the military. In 1946, Hirohito made a statement saying he was not a god. This shocked many people in Japan. Over time, he became more of a ceremonial figure, attending official events and trying to represent peace. However, his wartime role remained unclear to many people, especially younger generations. Later, as more documents became public, historians found evidence that Hirohito had been more involved than people once thought. He had met with generals, signed orders, and allowed attacks to continue, even when he knew the results. He was not the main planner of the war, but he also did not stop it. His silence and support helped the military continue. Today, Hirohito remains a controversial figure. In Japan, some people still honor him as a national symbol. Others believe he should have taken responsibility and apologized. In other countries, especially in China and Korea, people still feel anger about Japan's actions during the war and Hirohito's role. In conclusion, Emperor Hirohito was not just a passive figure. He played an active role during World War II. While he did not give all the orders, he had the power to stop or question some decisions and chose not to. His life shows how difficult it can be to understand a leader's true responsibility in a time of war. Even today, the debate about Hirohito's actions continues.